FuReel is about passion, it's about culture. It's not just about sharing a Chinese martial art, but it's about sharing the light at the end of my tunnel, and maybe this could be the light at the end of your tunnel, or you can just enjoy some really cool content, and this is FuReel. But knowing my body now, I can maintain the run without hurting myself anymore.
That's cool.
And I think that's why I like running now. Whereas before I hurt myself, so then it didn't feel good to run. Yeah. So
I'm not a runner myself.
Not yet, mate. Not yet. Not with that attitude.
I can sprint, but I can't do any more than 100 meters, and it's no.
You need an old man scooter. Sprint, get in your scooter, just.
You mean a gopher, one of those red ones, the 4 wheels?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean old man scooter? You don't have to be an old man to have one of those.
You can go for it.
Go for it. Oh,
all right.
Dad joke.
Okay. So, next one.
Okay.
Next one. Piers asked some good ones.
Okay.
All right. Do you think that practicing a Kung Fu Tai Chi form for competition distracts the practitioner from the original intent of the form? If judges are trying to judge a form without intricate knowledge of that style, doesn't that reward I'm going to say...
You're going to read English?
I'm going to read English, but it says generic here.
Yes.
But I'm going to say maybe it says generate or more obvious elements, but reduce the value of the specific style principles being displayed.
There's a tongue twister in there.
Yeah. Piers, mate, you're autocorrect. I directly copy and paste, so that's what happens. But, I get the gist of it. Do you get the gist of the question?
Yeah, I do. The answer is, for me, the answer is no.
It doesn't distract.
It doesn't.
From the intent of the form.
Yeah, exactly. Providing one's not attached to winning.
Yeah.
So, if, in my experience, and I've been involved in competitions, and also, I guess I've out of all my competition experience, majority of it has been supporting Jing mowers go through competition, and then there's been glimpses where I competed myself, and what I noticed is that when I was attached to getting the right score, then my thoughts were about what's going to achieve the right score. Words like what's going to impress the judges. So my objective was more about attaining a high score rather than performing the drill with integrity and to the best of my ability. That's very different. They're two different things. However, I also have been a judge for competitions, and what I will say also is that you're right, Piers, not all judges will have an intimate knowledge of how a style works, but it doesn't mean a judge can't judge. Yeah. Because there's a positive side to that. When you have a judge that doesn't have intimate knowledge of a particular style, then what is left is the essence of a martial art. Yeah. So we're talking about presence, we're talking about power, we're talking about intent, we're talking about sharpness of movement or smoothness of movement. If movement's meant to be smooth, it's smooth. If it's meant to be sharp, then it's sharp. But if it is part way, then that could be questionable. A person's confidence in how they stand up. And if a person has practiced something, it is very clearly evident that they have practiced it a lot by comparison to someone who's practiced it just enough. So when we have a person that comes up and practices just enough, then often what happens is, I'll just use these words, the performance appears hollow. When someone has practiced a lot and they have an intimate knowledge of their own body and how it interacts with that particular form, then it's very clear, and what we see then is very thick. It has body. Yep. So what I say to all people who prepare for competitions, most of them have been our own members, and some of them have been people who practiced other styles who value my opinion, is that you choose your form, you ensure that it fulfills the minimum requirements of the competition. For example, time. You can't be too long, can't be too short, so you got to figure that out. That it covers the space. So if the form requirements, the competition requirements require you to cover at least 40% of the width of the mat, then in some competitions they say that you have to go from side to side X amount of times or whatever it might be. Make sure that the form does that. And sometimes, like it does for us, we have to repeat the form a few times or choreograph and join two forms together. But once you get all of that, the fundamental requirements to actually qualify in your competition, because there's no point if the competition says minimum 60 seconds and your form's 15 seconds, then that doesn't even qualify. You've got to qualify. Now, there is an argument. There are some traditionalists out there, and I've had this conversation with some of the other sifu's here locally, and that is our form as traditionally has been 30 seconds long or 45 seconds long. It is wrong for us to increase the time. Okay. So, one or two things are going to happen. Either the competition director creates an exemption for these people or separate competition set for them, or they compete and they don't qualify. It's really that simple, because we don't have to... winning a competition is not a statement about the style. Losing a competition is not a statement about the individual. It's just what was judged on the day by a group of humans based on some criteria about another human. That's not a judgment on anybody. It's just what happens on the day. So, it's not a big deal. Yeah. I'm saying it's not a big deal, although it has been a big deal when we got involved in world competitions and so on. It's a fantastic experience. But what I'm saying is your style reputation does not hang on whether students succeed or fail, get a high or low score in a competition, even if it's a fighting one. So my answer to you, Pierce, is providing the frame of mind is correct. In other words, if the competition is like a grading, it's just part and parcel of my experience and journey, and I practice because I practice to master my form, not impress judges, then no, it won't distract. But the moment we do anything for somebody else, it's a distraction straight away. And it like happens here in class. Students are fine doing their thing, and the moment they notice I'm looking at them, it all changes, and they lose their way. They get all jittery about what they're doing, and they say, "Oh, see, if you're watching me, that puts me off." Well, there's an example. Right? It's got nothing to do with me, actually. It's only what we make it mean, how we interpret what's happening around us, what surrounds us. So the whole purpose of practice is to be able to shut all of that out and just focus on ourselves and the job at hand, whatever it happens to be, whatever expression. If a person is practicing an animal style, then they have to get into the character of the animal. If they are practicing a modern wushu style, then they have to get in the character of modern wushu. If they're doing a yang style Tai Chi, they have to get in character of yang style. If they're doing Chen style Tai Chi, get in character of Chen style, etc. Rather than focus on impressing judges. That is one way of doing it. But the question is, does getting involved in competitions mean that practice is then not beneficial to the individual? The answer is no. As a matter of fact, anything can be a distraction to the individual. It doesn't have to be a competition. And therefore, just because it's a competition doesn't mean it has to distract. Now, you've actually competed more times than I have. Right. In championships, national, international, local. What's your take on Pierce's question?
I agree. It's not a distraction. I find competitions actually quite fun and challenging in a way that because I have to put all my energy into one point, like I'm practicing, that I love how when my human traits come out or my human defaults come out, how I deal with them. Like when there's a bunch of people watching me, or there's the previous guy watching me on the side as I'm walking up, and what that brings out of me. Nervousness, anxiousness, whatever it may be. Even some ego as well. So, I want to beat that score sort of thing. And watching myself through competition, knowing that I can't stop because it's a set guideline. I have to go for this long. Otherwise, I'm disqualified. You know, there's consequences and stuff like that. Watching myself from afar, being able to watch myself from afar during competition and being able to keep it all together and do my best is really satisfying. So that's like one thing I enjoy about competition. It's like a mini test on how I am going with myself, with my practice. And when I win, it's great too. It's like a bonus, but it's really it's challenging but fun to watch myself with things popping up everywhere. Yeah, talking about that gets me all excited. I want to compete now.
Are you sweating?
Yep.